Elder George Q. Cannon read the following interesting reports. President John Taylor's report. At our last April conference, 1878, we read an account furnished by the different stakes, giving a full exhibit of the financial condition of the various stakes of Zion. I had quite a desire to have a statement of these accounts read at this conference, but found upon reflection that it would be altogether impracticable. The bishops in their several wards do not make a settlement with their wards oftener than once a year, namely at the end of each year. It is true that there are some places and parties who make settlements oftener than this, but as those settlements are not general, it would only complicate matters to give a partial view, and would not meet the object designed. I have therefore thought it best to defer this matter until the next April conference, when the general reports from the several stakes will be in, which will thus enable us to make a satisfactory exhibit. I would respectfully request that the bishops and presidents of the various stakes will furnish to me not later than the 1st of next March, and each succeeding year, a full financial report of the several stakes, including schedules of tithing, and also that Bishop Hunter's agents will furnish him a similar statement, so that his clerk and mine may have time to adjust all accounts between the trustee and bishop, that a satisfactory financial report may be presented. In the absence of a financial report, I am very happy to be able to state that during the last year no person has presented at the trustee and trust's office any draft, bill, or acceptance that has not been met on the day as promptly as any business house or banking institution, and I see no reason why we shall not be able to do so in the future. Reports from Arizona and other missions in the South are quite encouraging, although the settlements on the Little Colorado River have met with severe losses in their crops, arising from a very heavy flood. Brother Erastus Snow, John W. Young, L. John Nuttall, and a company of prominent elders are now on a visit to those far-off settlements with a view to instruct, comfort, organize, and regulate the affairs of the Church. The settlements generally there are operating in the United Order, having started out with the intention and under those instructions. Our missionary operations in the southern states are being prosecuted with earnestness and zeal. Baptisms have been gratifyingly frequent, and quite a call is being made for missionary help. In the northern and northwestern states also the labors of our brethren have not been without fruit, and it is with much pleasure and gratification that we notice an increase of the missionary spirit in the hearts of our brethren of the 70s, the elders and others upon whose shoulder lies the responsibilities of preaching the gospel to the world, which awakening we trust and anticipate will grow and develop until every man called to minister for God shall realize the weight and responsibility of his office and calling. Since our last conference, it has been deemed desirable by the Council of the Apostles to release Elder Joseph F. Smith from the presidency of the Church in Europe, so that he may be the better enabled to give his entire energies to the numerous and responsible duties devolving upon him at home. We have appointed Elder William Budge of the Bear Lake Stake of Zion to succeed him in that important position. From the reports of Elders Smith and Budge, we learned that the elders in Europe have, during the past season, labored with much assiduity, faithfulness, and zeal. In northern Europe, the church was never so large as it is today, notwithstanding the great number of saints who are constantly gathering to the body of the church therefrom. In Sweden, the progress made by the work of the Lord is especially gratifying. Within the last few months, the Book of Mormon has been translated by Elder A. W. Carlson into the language of that nation, and a periodical representing the faith and doctrines of the Church of Jesus Christ is now being published there regularly. These aids to the great work of the last days in that land will, we trust, cause it to advance with greater speed and to the accomplishment of still more abundant good. In Great Britain, though baptisms are not as frequent as in former years, the labors of the brethren are not without encouraging success, especially when we consider the almost universal indifference that is at the present time manifested by the people of that country to all religious matters and themes. In Germany, the way is gradually opening for the preaching of the gospel, and we yet look for a glorious and abundant harvest of souls from among that people to add to the strength of Messiah's growing kingdom. In Switzerland also, the elders are patiently and untiringly warning the people of the day of God's controversy with the nations, and the same may be truthfully said of the labors in the Lord's vineyard in Australia, the Sandwich Islands, and wherever else they may be found ministering. It is gratifying to learn that the temples in Logan and Manti, as well as Salt Lake City, are progressing favorably, and that the Sunday and district schools, as well as the Brigham Young Academy of Provo and our university, are in healthy and prosperous condition. The Relief Societies are progressing with a laudable zeal, and our young men's and young women's mutual improvement societies are performing a good labor in the culture, advancement, education, and general improvement of our youth. We are striving to adjust matters relative to our cooperative institutions and to place them on a basis more in consonance with the revelations given to us on that subject. Zion's Cooperative Mercantile Institution has been established as a stepping stone to the introduction of the United Order, and it is proper that in all of our moves of a temporal nature we should have this great object in view. That institution is emphatically called Zion's Cooperative Mercantile Institution, and ought to operate, as its name indicates, in the interests of Zion, and all the various stakes, being what are termed stakes of Zion, ought to do their business through that institution, and sustain it in all their mercantile operations. On the other hand, the institution should act in behalf of, and in the interests of all the people in the several stakes, and while it is being sustained and helped by all, ought to shield, protect, and help all, that a mutual reciprocity of feeling and action may exist as between the people and that institution. Already a committee has been organized for the purpose of introducing measures to promote the interests of that institution, as well as the general interests of the people throughout the territory. It is contemplated to have a permanent committee, but not having time during this conference to consummate this work, we shall be under the necessity of leaving it in the hands of the 12, the presidents of stakes, and the presiding bishopric to organize such committee, and perhaps county committees also, and for which we desire to have your vote and sanction. There are certain reports presented by subcommittees who have been investigating several matters associated with the mercantile and other interests of this community which we will now present. Report of Subcommittee on Dry Goods, Notions, Boots, and Shoes, Salt Lake City, October 3, 1878. To the Chairman and members of the Investigating Committee. Gentlemen, your subcommittees on dry goods, notions, boots, and shoes, having given the subject referred to us due consideration, beg leave to submit the annexed as our report. First, we consider the best means to unite the people in support of cooperation is for cooperation to deal so fairly that it will be to the advantage of the people to support it. Second, we believe the ZCMI is purchasing generally to the best possible advantage under the circumstances. Third, we are satisfied that goods can be furnished by ZCMI to the branch stores and retail dealers on such terms as it will be to their interest to purchase of ZCMI. Fourth, we would suggest that our manufacturers of woolen goods consider the propriety of classifying the products of their several factories, as we believe goods can be produced cheaper when a specialty is made of some particular line than in the attempt to manufacture all classes in the same factory, and that they and all manufacturers of the home productions bring their business to a cash basis, that their goods may be handled to the best advantage, and that the parent co-op and all other merchants instruct their managers and salesmen to urge the sale of all classes of home products upon the attention of the people. Fifth, we are pleased to learn that ZCMI has purchased, during the last 12 months, over $125,000 worth of homemade articles, and that they are disposed to encourage the sale of all home products as far as practicable. H. S. Eldridge, F. M. Lyman, S. R. Parkinson, S. H. Higginbottom, J. P. Fries, R. S. Watson. Report of Subcommittee on Groceries, Hardware, etc. Salt Lake City, Utah, October 5, 1878. H. S. Eldridge, Esquire, Chairman of the Investigating Committee, City. Dear Brother, your Subcommittee on Hardware, Groceries, etc., having given these special departments of merchandise careful investigation, and in accordance with the instructions from the General Counsel, beg to report as follows. We are of the opinion that to secure for cooperation the united support of the people, it is essential that the several cooperative enterprises in the territory have their confidence, which can be obtained by fair, just, and honorable dealing, and offering advantages to patrons in prices and qualities of goods. As regards the importation of merchandise, we believe that it has been done by Zion's Cooperative Mercantile Institution to the best possible advantage under existing circumstances. Today, however, the institution is in a position to purchase its goods in the markets of the East and West at closer figures than heretofore, and we are satisfied that local cooperative stores and retail dealers can be furnished with these goods at figures and upon terms that will be to their advantage. All classes of home products should be persistently brought to the notice of the people, and to this end we would recommend that managers and salesmen of cooperative institutions urge upon the people the purchase of a home-produced article in preference to an imported one. ZCMI has done much to foster home products and is desirous to continue to do the same. During the past year, we learned that no less than $125,000 worth of homemade articles were purchased by the parent institution and sold to its customers. Respectfully, William Jennings, Chairman, Farrah Moores Little, D. H. Peary, John Clark, Thomas G. Weber, Henry Eyring. Report Subcommittee on Produce, Salt Lake City, Utah, October 4, 1878. Mr. Chairman and Gentlemen of the Committee of Inquiry, your Committee on Produce beg respectfully to submit as their report, first, that the produce trade of our territory is an important one, approximating in value to $1 million per annum, and should, in the opinion of your committee, be handled and marketed as far as possible by Zion's Cooperative Mercantile Institution in the best interest of the producer. Second, it is the opinion of your committee that this branch of trade heretofore has been too extensively managed by middlemen, having no common interest in the prosperity of the people. These parties have frequently secured the saleable produce of our territory at rates which, too often seem to have no relation whatever to the prices secured by them from actual consumers. This, in the opinion of your committee, is all wrong, in that it is a positive injury to our farmers, who, as a class, are not supported to be fully familiar with the tricks of the trade, often practiced upon them by these middlemen. Nor can they reasonably be expected individually to become familiar with prices ruling at commercial centers. It therefore becomes the duty, and it should be the pleasure of ZCMI in receiving the patronage of our home producers to look well to the interest of the latter in this regard, securing for them the lowest rates for transportation where produce is shipped out of the territory, and the highest ruling prices for the same at points of destination. Third, when ZCMI exchanges goods for produce, they should, in the opinion of your committee, make a reasonable profit on the former, and not seek to make gains of the latter. A uniform policy of this kind strictly adhered to would, without doubt, speedily render the business of these middlemen in this line very undesirable. Fourth, we believe that in all these matters Zion's Cooperative Mercantile Institution should, as heretofore, take the lead, fully demonstrating that her interests are fully identified with the interests of the people of our territory, that her efforts are for and not against them, and in this connection she should avoid as far as possible the importation and sale of foreign produce, giving always our home-produced articles the preference. Fifth, in order to secure the best results as to the quality of and prices for the produce of our territory, we would respectfully suggest and earnestly recommend the organization and permanent establishment of a local board of trade in each stake throughout the territory to do business in harmony and with the aid of ZCMI. Sixth, the best possible means with which to unite our people on cooperation in reference to the produce trade of the territory is, in the opinion of your committee, to adopt and practice these suggestions, and for Zion's Cooperative Mercantile Institution in all her commercial relations to protect her customers, and particularly our home producers, as she, under like circumstances, would be like to be protected. Very respectfully, etc., M. Thatcher, R. S. Watson, William W. Burton, George Teasdale. Report on the Subcommittee on Wool, Hides, Pelts, etc., Salt Lake City, October 2, 1878. To the committee appointed to consider the manufacturing and mercantile interests of this territory. Brethren, your subcommittee on wool, hides, pelts, etc., met pursuant to adjournment at the council house, and after mature deliberation we beg leave to report that, in our opinion, in order to accomplish the desired object and obtain a unity of action among the people, the presidency of the several stakes should be called upon to make a strong and determined effort to unite the people in this matter, and we would respectfully suggest that full instructions be issued by the proper authorities to said presidents, setting forth the object to be accomplished, and asking them to use their best efforts to protect the home manufacturing and export interests of the territory. And your committee would further suggest that their attention be especially called to the wool and hide products of the territory, as they are the foundation of our largest home manufactures. We think these articles should be handled within ourselves. We are well aware that there is a large surplus of wool and hides over and above what is required for our home use, and if these products are handled within ourselves, the kind and quality best adapted can be selected for our home consumption, and the surplus sold to our own agents or shipped by them on commission as may best suit the producer. Your committee firmly believe that it is for the best interest of the people to adopt this course, and in doing this, our home industries will be fostered, patronized, sustained, fully carried out, the old adage of the greatest good to the greatest number. A. O. Smoot, Farrah Moores Little, H. B. Clausen, Anson Call, William R. Smith. Report Subcommittee on Wagons and Machinery, Salt Lake City, October 7, 1878. To the Committee on Cooperation, Home Manufacturers and Industry. Brethren, the Committee on Wagons and Machinery met pursuant to appointment, and beg leave to report that we have examined into the feasibility of furnishing wagons and agricultural machinery at a small percentage above cost, and we are satisfied it can be done, and that the people will be greatly benefited thereby. In order to thoroughly carry out this desirable object, a determined and persistent line of action should be adopted throughout the territory, having in view the full and unqualified support of this measure by the masses of the people. Your committee would suggest that a line of, say, 3 different makes of farm and freight wagons, also a line of spring wagons and buggies, varying in quality and price to suit the trade, be selected to meet our present wants. In regard to mowers, reapers, threshers, and other agricultural machinery and implements, we are satisfied that out of the large variety in the market, one or more of the several kinds can be selected and obtained on such terms as will be entirely satisfactory. There is a great variety of articles in this line that must necessarily be kept for the accommodation of the people, which should be sold on such terms that it will be to the interest of our people to patronize home institutions, instead of foreign firms or agencies, thereby sustaining the principles that promote this important move. Angus M. Cannon, William R. Smith, Bernard White, H. B. Clausen. He said that it had been the intention to present at this conference the names of those who should constitute a Board of Trade, but not having an opportunity on account of a press of other business to definitely select that board, it deemed wisdom to obtain the sanction of this conference in the following motion, which was unanimously sustained by uplifted hands: that the committees on Zion's Cooperative Institution, with the 12 apostles in council, presidents of stakes and their counselors, the presiding bishop and his counselors, and the directors and secretary of ZCMI, are requested to meet at the council house tomorrow morning at 10 o'clock to talk over and adjust matters relative to our temporal interests.